Today is the start of a new channel. It's about books, and I'm going to call it something, let's say Foregone Books. Foregone Books, in memory of Russell Banks, who died a couple days ago from when I'm recording today on January 9th, 2023. He was 82 years old. Now, I just read his final novel. I don't have my tripod with me, so because I'm cat sitting somewhere. But future episodes, if there are any, will be with the use of the tripod. I just finished a couple of weeks ago reading The Magic Kingdom, which is the final Russell Banks release. I don't know if there are any other in the hopper there that he hadn't gotten around to releasing, but anyway, that's the final one that we have, and it feels like a final novel of an old man. Actually, the man in the novel dies at age 82, which is not really giving it much of it away. It's about his youth, and it's about him recording a series of cassettes in the early 70s that are found later, and tell this whole story about a Shaker community in South Florida, or in Middle Florida, in around 1910, and what went on with them. So the novel has a lot to do with Shakers. It has a good deal to do with youth and desire and sex. And we learn a lot about the Shakers, who do not have a sex and do not have intimate love relationships, or at least are not supposed to, which means it's a little hard for them to keep rebuilding their colonies. At that time, would rely on agricultural labor and children, things like that. So they would have to recruit people to come in to work on become the new Shakers. At any rate, the novel is about a family of John Ruskinites who were a different sector of the utopian kind of people in the 1800s. And these people had lived in a Ruskin colony, which was secular and believed in sharing, and kind of a communist kind of idea, and also agricultural settings. One thing or another happened. The father dies, and they have to go to another plantation for a while, which is in the South. And it is terrible. It's basically a slave colony that they're being kept at to work this plantation. That's a very interesting section of the book. That this old man is telling about his childhood, 70 years before. So finally, they are rescued by a Shaker man who comes in and takes them to Florida, who buys off their what they're due to the company that they're living and working for. The whole bit where you can come to work with me, but it costs you so much money and you never get out of the debt that you're in, and you keep working for us forever because you are basically a slave to this debt and this system. The B. Traven novels about the mahogany workers in Central America tell that tale really, really well about how people are entrapped into this kind of work and can't get out. And there's no way of surviving it. But these people do get out, and they get taken to this other colony where the bulk of the story goes on, and where he grows to be a young man next 10 years. And it's a looking back story, as the other final novel, Foregone, which I'm going to call this vidcast about. Foregone is also about a looking back, and an old man who looks back with a sense of something happened in the past that he's he's a little ashamed of, he's a little guilty about, and the perception of everyone is a lot different. So both Foregone and The Magic Kingdom tell this story about an old man dealing with something in the past that he did that he might not have done in the same way in different circumstances. And so it's not so much that the hero has made a mistake. It's just that the situation is not built for heroics, and it's just the circumstances of life that drive people along and lead them into what they find for themselves and how they have to get by within that. So The Magic Kingdom is really a good novel. Foregone, I think I was in a different state of mind when I read that one. I might have to look at it again. It's about a filmmaker who has a USA born person who had moved to Canada to avoid getting drafted into the Vietnam War, and his looking back at what went on and how the reasons for him leaving were not exactly as he let it be known in his, illustrious career as this filmmaker, this elderly documentarian, I guess, in Canada. The one before that, Lost Memory of Skin, is one of the most incredible novels I'd ever read. And what it involves is people on the restrictions of people who are on sex watch lists. And the main character is a young man who gets on one of these for, he hasn't raped people or killed anyone or attacked children or, whatever. It's some kind of a stupid, internet thing or something like that, but has put his life into this peril of, all the action takes place. This is a Florida novel. All the action takes place in underneath a bridge, basically, underneath a highway bridge in Florida, one of all those super highways. So these people are living under this, is the only place they can live, because the restrictions of them being on this watch list is that they can't live near schools or near this or that, and children would be there, even if, it's just the rule that they can't be there. So it's very this really interesting novel from 2011 about these people who live under, basically as bums, because they can't work either, underneath this bridge, and the little culture that they build and what goes on with them. And it's quite fascinating. It's a really great novel. 2004 was The Darling. Now, The Darling was a novel about a woman who, I don't remember that much about that one. It's about a woman who moves to Liberia, falls in love with somebody in Liberia. It's about a woman in Liberia and what goes on with her there, and I don't really remember that much about it. It's been a while since I read it. well, almost 20 years, I guess, 18 years. Cloud Splitter. Cloud Splitter was the first one I read of Russell Banks. It's from 1998, and it really blew my mind. It's about abolitionist John Brown, and it's written by on the point of view of one of his sons. Okay, we know John Brown as this fierce abolitionist and also a serious religious zealot. That's what drove him into the fury of his opposition, righteous opposition to slavery. So we have this story about written by the point of view of the son, and so we see what goes on. Like they go out to where was it, Kansas? There were these disputed states, territories that could become slave or free in this weird period before the Civil War, where they came into the Union as free, or depending on how many slave people were there or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, the son recounts all the bloodshed that goes on there, and which was serious, and John Brown didn't mess around. John Brown was a righteous terrorist. There's really kind of little question about that, and a warrior. So, and it takes us to the ending in Harper's Ferry and all of that, and it's a terrific novel that I just loved, and I'm glad it didn't turn into a Ethan Hawke series, because I couldn't even watch the Good Lord Bird with him ranting around and chewing the scenery like he did. It was just like, okay, so you're on cocaine and you're in a movie, great. This is not the John Brown that I want to remember. Affliction is another one that I read. Affliction, not that long ago, about a year or so ago. I'd seen the movie, the great Paul Schrader movie, years ago with Nick Nolte and I can't think of the other guy's name. He played Flint in like Flint. Maybe I'll think of it in a minute, but I'll just keep talking. At any rate, I had the notion that the movie, the affliction in the movie, was actually the alcoholism. But the affliction is not the alcoholism. It's a violence. It's an affliction that leads towards violence. It's an inclination towards violence, and it's an inclination towards violence that is acquired from experience through the family. And it's about a son and his father, who his father is in the late stages of his life and his alcoholism, and the guy got an Academy Award for it, didn't he? At any rate, those are all the novels of Russell Banks that I've read thus far. So there is Rule of the Bone, I haven't read. The Sweet Hereafter, I have not read. The Reserve, I don't think I read either. Continental Drift, no. Big Books. The Book of Jamaica, nope. The Relation of My Imprisonment, 1983, that could be interesting. Hamilton Stark, Family Life. So, thank you for watching the very first of my new bookcast, booktube, Foregone Books, in memory of the great Russell Banks, who we who love books, as long as the books are going to be around, will remember him and bring him to the fore and talk about him and talk about his great work that was socially responsible and clearly a man that cared about people and class and the class war. And there's what else is there that a writer can be and serve us with his hard work. That's a lot of sitting there typing all those books.